Hi everyone, we are excited to present our findings from the final report of our walk audit assessment. As you learned at the July board meeting, this has been our main focus throughout our internship, and we are so proud to share it with you today. We're just going to do a brief summary of the report here, but the full document will be shared with you following this meeting, and will also be available on the DDA website in the future. The report covers the full range of our walk audit project, including project overview and methodology, district summaries and analysis, individual district recommendations, and overall recommendations for the entire greater downtown Fort Lauderdale boundary audited, as well as a section on what comes next for the remaining downtown streets that were not audited and how the data we collected will be utilized in the future. Over the course of 2 months of fieldwork, we audited 223 street segments and 132 intersections. The overall findings for downtown Fort Lauderdale were encouraging, and we have a lot of hope for the future of the downtown area. Over 50% of streets audited were rated a 4 or 5, meaning they are in great shape and needed very few small-scale improvements. Only 10% of streets that were audited were rated a 1, meaning they need a major overhaul in order to be considered safe and accessible for multimodal travel. With that in mind, we wanted to be as comprehensive as possible in this report, so we've included a lot of recommendations for possible improvements and repairs.
As we discussed at the July board meeting, each street segment we audited received a rating from 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. For this report, we wanted to create a ranking system that would help us to identify streets that should be prioritized for improvements and repairs. Using the ranking system, we were able to better recommend future projects. To create this system, we combined the original ratings with additional factors that allow us to quantify each street segment's walkability and safety. These additional factors include if there are continuous sidewalks on both sides of the street, if there are any sidewalk obstructions or trip hazards, and if there are any aesthetic or street issues. This system is not the most scientific or in-depth mode of analysis, but it allows us to quickly identify streets with the highest concentration of safety and walkability issues. Each street segment we audited received a ranking from 0 to 10. A 10 is the worst ranking, which means that the street segment has the highest possible concentration of issues looked at and received the worst possible street rating. A 0 is the best ranking, which means the street segment needs no work to be considered safe for cars and pedestrians and received the highest possible street rating. For each district, we included a summary that gives an overview of main characteristics of the district and some of our key takeaways like best or worst walking areas, trends in development, etc. Then we have a page dedicated to data and analysis. Here, we dive into the statistics and explain a bit about what the numbers actually mean in the context of safety, walkability, and necessary improvements. Each district has 4 key statistics visualized for a quick and easy overview of what you should actually take away from the data we present.
For the district recommendations, we first identified the top 5 streets for prioritization using our ranking system. The top ranked streets are all lacking safe and comfortable walkability. We mapped the streets so it's easy to visualize what areas within each district need the most improvements. Next, we discussed what type of issues are most common in that specific district and those specific prioritized streets. We recommend quick fixes as well as more costly and in-depth changes. Typically, quick fixes we recommend include cleaning up landscaping and vandalism, filling in potholes or areas that pond easily after rain, or repainting intersection and street line striping. The larger scale changes we recommend include adding or fixing sidewalks, removing permanently placed sidewalk obstructions, and redesigning blocks to add bike lanes or street furniture. These changes would be a lot more time consuming and costly, but hopefully some of these changes will be implemented in the future to drastically improve downtown Fort Lauderdale. We also gave an example of a model street within each district that can be used as inspiration for improvements and developments in the future. District 4 from our audit is the 3 corridors that the DDA has applied for funding to improve in the US DOT Build Grant for 2020. Since the DDA has come up with a plan to majorly upgrade those corridors, we discussed their plans for the district rather than coming up with their own recommendations. The plans laid out by the DDA address all of the most prominent issues we discovered in District 4.
Following the district-specific recommendations, we also provide 3 possible strategies for overall downtown Fort Lauderdale improvements. We provide 3 strategies since we don't know who will be funding, planning, or carrying out future projects. The first strategy is to prioritize the top ranked streets we've identified during the audit. This strategy uses the ranking system we created. By focusing investment and improvements to the areas that most direly need it, a stark difference would be noticeable in the downtown area. The second strategy is to focus on safe and continuous sidewalks throughout the entire greater downtown Fort Lauderdale boundary. This would involve adding and repairing the sidewalks of each block. The times this summer that we felt most unsafe and unwelcome was when sidewalks were missing or majorly obstructed. Sidewalks are typically the first things pedestrians notice about a street, not landscaping or street furniture or even vandalism. The third strategy is to focus on pedestrian-heavy corridors, including areas that attract both local residents and tourists. This would include areas like Las Olas, Southwest 2nd Street in the Arts and Entertainment District, Broward Boulevard in US 1, Southeast 6th Street by the Judicial Complex, and parts of Flagler Village. These areas are typically already built up more than smaller streets, but would have the largest impact on pedestrian activity and comfort. Any of these three strategies, or a combination of them, could be used to inspire future planning and investment.
During our street assessment, we were only able to complete about 50% of the greater downtown Fort Lauderdale boundary. Although our time with the DDA is coming to a close, we hope that the rest of the boundary will be audited in the future in order to gain a deeper understanding of downtown Fort Lauderdale's built environment and necessary improvements. The data we collected, including the interactive map, will be available on the DDA website so the public can explore everything we noted during the audit. The map and data tables will be updated as streets change and improve in the future. Our analysis and recommendations will be used by the DDA for future projects and hopefully inspire some great improvements to the downtown area.
We want to thank the entire team at the DDA for encouraging us and mentoring us this summer. We appreciate how independently we've been able to work on the audit project. We were able to really explore our own ideas, work through problems, and gain experience that isn't typical of a summer internship. The DDA team was there the entire time to make sure we were always on the right track and pushing ourselves to create the best work possible. This report would not have been possible without their support and guidance. So thank you again. That brings us to the end of our presentation. So now we'll open it up for questions and comments.